Gregori Rasputin, a man known from history as getting uncomfortably close to the Russian Imperial family, and of course for his infamous death. But what if history had taken a different turn? And what if Rasputin's ties with the Imperial family had deepened, and with an unending thirst for power had led him, through a series of unlikely but possible events, to absolute power in Russia? March 1st, 1887. They had failed. The Tsar was alive. The tyranny lived another day. The people's will was not enacted. Alexander was quickly overwhelmed by the Tsar's guards and patriotic members of the crowd. If only they knew, he thought, the good they could have done them. He stood solemn as he was read his sentence. Alexander Ulyanov is sentenced to hanging for conspiracy to murder Alexander III, Tsar of the Russian Empire. He was silent and awaited the drop. Long live the Tsar! Upon hearing the news of the unjust execution of his brother, Vladimir was horrified. From then on, he promised to himself that he would honor his brother and bring down the Romanovs by any means necessary. November 1905. Alexandra stared out the window. A great commotion had broken in the streets of St. Petersburg as a so-called holy healer had performed yet another so-called miracle. She thought of her son Alexei and his worsening haemophilia. He may be our only option, she cried to Nicholas. The best doctors in the country cannot cure it. Holy intervention is surely what is needed. No, shouted Nicholas. He is nothing but a blasphemous fraud. We cannot let him into the highest echelons of power. But think of Alexei. Think of the monarchy. After Bolshevik got Mikhail, if Alexei's health falls into further jeopardy, the dynasty will be without an heir. Nicholas thought for a moment. Bolshevik and Vladimir Ulyanov had been a thorn in his side for a long time. Perhaps what he needed was some godly intervention. Fine, conceded Nicholas. Invite him in. But if he even shows the slightest sign of being some drunken homeless man, he is out immediately. Alexei's haemophilia had weakened. Perhaps Alexandra was right. Rasputin could be trusted. His influence had meant that Alexei was strong enough, at least to appear in official photographs more often. He had begun to make suggestions on the direction of the monarchy and the country, most recently against intervention in the Balkan War to aid Serbia. Nicholas had been warned that if he had intervened to help Serbia, presumably against the Ottoman Empire, that the country would fall into a catastrophic amount of bloodshed and the Romanovs would fall forever. That prophecy had turned out to be at least partially correct. Everyone had seen the pictures. The devastation, the Great Balkan War, as it had become known, ended in a ceasefire with neither side having seen much victory. The wrath of Serbian nationalism was firmly pointed at the Ottoman Empire. The need for revenge was growing by the day. Perhaps with time and the guidance of Rasputin, the Romanov dynasty would last 1,000 years. For Rasputin, the plan was working perfectly. 28th of June, 1914. Bang! Vladimir had done it. Tsar Nicholas II was dead. But first, Vladimir thought of his brother. How proud he would have been. Second, he thought the state Bolshevik organization. Its resources had been almost entirely exhausted in the planning of the assassinations, and of course to have its members avoid capture all these years. He knew that this would be the agency and his last act. The Romanovs had been destroyed, people were free, that was his legacy. My God! Exclaimed Alexandra. Long live the Tsar, muttered Rasputin. Do we know who did this? He said out loud. Yes, one of the members of the party that entered the palace said. Vladimir Ulyanov, who goes by Lenin. Did you capture him? Yes. Good. I want the entire organization destroyed, and anyone who opposes me. I mean the Empire, executed at once. Except Lenin, bring him here. Yes, sir. Guards, set him down there. Vladimir was confused. Why did you bring me here? Rasputin smiled. For a chat. Why did you kill the Tsar? For the people, to set them free. And how well did that go for you? Said Rasputin. And what's with the name then, Lenin? It's after a river in our great motherland. Why would you disgrace your family for some river? I have not disgraced my family. I have avenged them. Oh, you mean this, Rasputin replied, pulling out an old pistol from his robe. Lenin recognized the gun immediately. It was the one his brother had used in his own attempt. Rasputin fired. Guards, ensure this never happens again. Lenin's head was impaled on a spike on a podium in central Moscow, forever preserved as a warning to potential dissidents. You are not safe here, said Rasputin. I know. What of Alexei? Exclaimed Alexandria. This may be hard, but the Tsar has to stay in Russia for stability. You take the girls to England. Stay with your family there. I shall lead a regency for Alexei for the time being, until the situation stabilizes. Alexandra kissed Rasputin on the cheek. Thank you. The Romanov party landed at Portsmouth docks on the 9th of April 1915. The party were greeted personally by King George V, who offered them space to stay at Buckingham Palace. Rasputin led Alexei to the stairs to the basement of the palace. One good push ought to do it,